So you're a dentist, and you're dreaming big, thinking about a specialty residency in the UAE. You probably know the path is pretty demanding. Well, today we are going to crack the code on the very first, and you could argue the most important hurdle you're going to face, the EDRE exam. You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. The Emirates Dental Residency Entrance Examination, or EDRE for short, isn't just another test. It's the key. It's literally the gateway that can unlock the door to your entire career ambition in the Emirates. Okay, so let's dive right in. Before we start talking about study plans or test-taking strategies, we need to get absolutely crystal clear on what the EDRE actually is and why it carries so much weight. So, officially, the EDRE is the National Entrance Exam for Dental Residency. It's run by UAE University. The best way to think about it? It's the one standardized hurdle that every single applicant has to clear just to even be considered for a training spot. And passing this thing, it's about way more than just remembering facts from a textbook. When you pass, you're signaling to every single residency program that, 1, you have a solid foundation of clinical knowledge, 2, you can think critically under pressure, and 3, and this is the big one, that you are truly ready for the demands of specialist training. And let me be really clear about this. This is not a recommendation. It's not a preference. You literally cannot even start the formal application for major programs until you have a passing EDRE score in your hand. It's step 0. All right, so now we know why it's so critical. Let's talk about who can actually take it. We're going to get into the practical stuff now, the eligibility. Do you actually meet the baseline requirements to even sit for the exam? Okay, think of this as your pre-flight checklist. You'll need a recognized dental degree, of course. You've got to have that 1-year internship completed, and you generally need to be a pretty recent graduate, usually within the last 5 years. Now, this next one is really important. You can't have been out of clinical practice for more than a year. And naturally, you'll need to prove you're proficient in English and meet all the standard UAE licensing rules. Just a pro tip, always check the latest official requirements, because these things can change a little from year to year. And here are the quick and dirty logistical details. The exam window is usually between December and March. You're looking at a fee of around 1,000 AED, and it's a computer-based test that you have to take in person, at a center inside the UAE, so definitely plan your travel accordingly. So you're eligible, you know the logistics. Now for the million-dollar question. What are you actually going to face on exam day, right? Understanding the format, that's absolutely key to building a winning strategy. Now, don't let the words multiple choice exam fool you. We're not talking about simple memorization here. You're going to face complex clinical scenarios and case-based questions where you have to pick the single best answer. That means you'll be interpreting radiographs, looking at clinical photos, analyzing lab findings, and applying all that basic science knowledge to solve real-world problems. So what kind of topics are we talking about? Well, it's the whole spectrum of general dentistry. You'll see everything from diagnosis and treatment planning to prost, perio, and surgery. The big takeaway here is how balanced it is. No single area totally dominates, which means you just can't afford to have any major weak spots in your knowledge base. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. Knowing what's on the exam is one thing, but actually preparing for it is a whole different ballgame. So let's walk through a proven 12-week game plan to get you totally ready. Here's how the countdown works. The first couple of weeks, that's all about assessment, taking a baseline test to figure out where your weak spots are. Then, from weeks 3 to 5, you do a deep, systematic content review. After that, you shift gears. Weeks 6 to 8 are all about timed practice to build up your speed and stamina. Then, weeks 9 and 10, you're doing full-length mock exams, a total dress rehearsal. And you finish with 2 weeks of high-yield final revision. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Let's break down some pro-level strategies by looking at what to do versus what not to do. The biggest mistake? Just rereading your old college notes. No. You need to be thinking like a UAE resident dentist, focusing on the current standard of care. Don't ignore the so-called minor topics, like pediatrics or ortho. They will show up. And maybe most importantly, you have to practice full-length mock exams. It's not just about knowing the answers. It's about training your time management for the real thing. That's non-negotiable. Okay, so let's say you do it. You crush the exam, you get a great score. What's next? It is so important to understand that your EDRE score, while it is absolutely critical, is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle, the residency match. Your application is this whole profile made up of different parts. Your EDRE score, yeah, it's weighted heavily, but so is your GPA and your whole academic record. And then there are the multiple mini-interviews, or MMIs. These are a series of short, intense interviews designed to test your judgment. Every single one of these parts has to be strong to build a really compelling case for you as a candidate. And honestly, this quote just says it all. Think of the ED jury as a gatekeeper. A fantastic score gets you through that gate and puts you in the running. It doesn't walk you all the way to the finish line, but it gets you in the race. A weak score, though, that gate slams shut before you even get a chance to say hello. So, we've broken it all down: the exam's purpose, the study plan, its role in the big picture. We've basically given you the map. So really, the only question left to ask is, are you ready to start the journey? Look, let's be real. The EDRE is a high-stakes competitive exam. There is no doubt about that, but it is absolutely 100% conquerable. With the right plan, a serious focus on smart practice, and just plain consistent effort, you can get a score that opens up all the doors to your future in specialist dentistry in the UAE. Good luck!